Hey, gang. Welcome back to Nopes and Opes. I'm joined by my lovely co host, Hylan.
Yep.
And today we talk a little. I'm going to restart this. Hey, gang. Welcome back to Nopes and Opes. I'm joined by my lovely co host, Hylan.
Yep.
And today is another episode of our series where Hylan gives some pieces of advice. However many parts there are, I don't know. This might be part 7. This might be part 12.
Yeah.
I don't know. But today, Hylan poses two pieces of advice that we really like, but it leads us into a conversation of the pursuit of dreams and
Mm.
believing in yourself, which I think is a very important message that we want to, one, carry through our own lives, but also hope to share with others, specifically some of the students that you work with.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so there is one question that I kind of posed to Highland that, stops the tracks a little bit,
Yeah.
but it leads us into a very kind of insightful conversation about belief in oneself that I think would be really cool for people to watch. But if you ever want to reach out to us, you can reach out to us at NopeOpePod@gmail.com. Comment down below on Spotify or YouTube. We always read them, and it's the best way to kind of get any interaction. We want to hear your thoughts on the things that we say or thoughts on what we should talk about next.
Yep.
Highland, do you have anything to add?
This was a great one. I really enjoyed this one, and I'm kind of silent right now because I'm still trying to think about what we just talked about.
Yeah.
It was a really, really good one. So
Nice.
if you invest your time in this one, I think it will pay off handsomely.
Yeah. Well, gang, we appreciate you and enjoy the show. What's Highland's piece of advice for today?
Yeah. Exactly. Right. So I think by now we've probably introduced the series or
Yeah,
whatever
the little advice series we're doing.
whatever we're gonna call it or whatever. But this okay. So today's piece of advice. This is maybe the most important and also simplistic, but also most complex. I think the idea that people are most going to kind of be like, "Huh? What the heck?" But also be like, "Oh yeah, of course. Like,
Okay.
what are you talking about?" So I think in that regard, like I'm hoping, I'm hoping it's not just like, okay, and then 5 minutes later we're like, all right, that's
All right,
done.
well, that's the episode.
Yeah. So thanks for watching, guys. But no, I for me, this is the most important, and I think the one that people should spend the most amount of time kind of contemplating, and the thing that really I think is most valuable to younger people beginning their life. Like I think at my age, I think hopefully people either understand this innately or have spent some time kind of figuring it out.
Yeah.
I think at people at your age are beginning to realize like, okay, and like kind of it comes into your mind and maybe you think about it a little bit, but maybe it's not as important. But somebody that's like 16, 17, 18 is kind of beginning to be like, oh, okay, like I'm going to start on my own, whatever, and trying to figure it out. I think this is super important. So here we
All
go.
right.
All right. This is definitely the longest one for sure. All right. So life is only a continuous string of moments that will never repeat. And once they pass, they are gone forever. When we are down, we tend to think our down moments will never pass, and they will only continue to repeat and repeat and repeat. They will not. Even in our darkest moments, life will provide some brightness if we let it. However, the opposite of this is also true. And this is the one people tend not to focus on. Our success in life is only momentary as well. It will also pass, and the next moments will come. There is no such thing as being successful, as in something sustained over time. Moments of success are created and fought for continuously. There is not a continuity of success, just as there is not a continuity of failure and darkness in this life. There are only moments, and all moments pass, and the next moments come.
Lovely.
Yeah. But I think there's a huge amount within that passage that I think we tend to disregard. Like people, there's so much discussion about, oh, that person's successful or that person like has achieved success,
Yeah.
whatever. And I think there's this fallacy that if you earn X amount of money or you have this house or these cars or whatever it is, then oh, you'll be successful. And I think like in that regard, it's really, really well, like I thought of this originally because like I look back at my life and there were moments where like that first passage, like there were moments of darkness where I was just like, this isn't gonna change. This is and like I'm also like in writing that thinking about some people that I know that have ended up taking their lives recently and just like to get to that point, you feel like nothing's ever gonna change.
Um,
Right. You feel like you get to the point where you're like, nope, this is it. This is all I get to look forward to. And it becomes so dark and you don't see any brightness at the end of the tunnel that you're like, all right, this is my only option. And so that's where I kind of started from. And then, like, in thinking about it, it kind of went from like moments of darkness and just that feeling that things are never going to change. But then also going to the other end of the spectrum where it's like we think if we achieve success, like that will forever be like we'll be successful. And it's like,
yeah.
no, man, not at all.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I think it's like kind of a slap in the face of reality, you know, because like I've had moments where I'm really happy and feeling really good, but to also know like that those will fade and then you'll get back to a time where it's like, oh, it's not so good. And you know, like those are kind of like things that have been a tough thing for me to realize because in high school, I think I was just in this overarching, like really positive time in my
mm,
life. I was playing lacrosse. We were doing really well in lacrosse. Grades were good. I had a girlfriend. I had my first real relationship. I was just like on this upward, you know, just kind of ramp. And then what was really kind of like a wake up call for me was when I started to have like my struggles.
mm,
Like I was talking, if you we have an episode with our first ever guest with Jade, who I work with, and she in the episode she talks about how she's never really struggled before, and
yeah.
I made a little joke like, "Oh, there's time, it'll come." And that's not like nothing bad about her. Like she hasn't had any struggles. Great, I'm sure she has had her own personal struggles,
Yeah.
but like financial struggles and stuff like that, she has not. I experienced mine. So to go from like high school and this overarching like positivity college where I'm not really accepted. I'm not getting as much playing time on the lacrosse team as I want. Then, you know, after that, COVID happens. And then it's just like I went up and I went down. And it was so hard for me because when I was in that down, I was like, man, life used to be so good.
Mm,
I used to have such a good time. And now I just have a terrible time. And I was like, oh, I guess that time of my life has passed. Like that
mhm.
was kind of the mindset in like the deepest part of the hole. Well, the fun Rowan is gone. The kinda overweight, not having as much fun, not really happy is the new Rowan.
Yeah.
And now I'm back up. Like I was telling Emma this the other day, I was like, "Listen, I haven't felt this good since high school."
Yeah.
Like, just overarching in places in my life and confidence and
Yeah.
kind of a freedom. So, having those different stages of, like, good and bad and good, it's an important lesson. It's kinda like keep what is the right word? That kind of level of can't think of it, but there's a good word for it. I won't think of it.
Persistence.
Persistence, maybe? But just that perspective that, like, this shall pass, even if it's good or if it's bad.
Well, I mean, yeah, I get that. It is kind of a slap in the face, but at the same time, I think for me, it's like hopeful because
Yeah, I didn't mean slap in the face in a negative way, but
oh,
more of like a well, it's kinda like the congratulations, you're a human being. That in a way is kind of like a whoopsh, but
yeah.
it's like, "Hey, like, it's okay." Like, not a slap in the face in a bad way, more of
Yeah.
like a reality check.
No, I think that like for me, it's really important because I think like when I'm dealing with young kids, like there's one kid that I he's at the high school
Yeah.
and we were talking the other day and he's just like I don't want to work. I just want to be successful. And I don't really want to do I don't really want to do anything. And so I'm like, "Oh, okay, so what are you going to do?" And he's like, "Well, I just want to be a real estate investor." And
S-
he's like, I don't want to do the actual work.
Sounds like me in college.
I just want to buy the houses and have everyone else do the work and then sell them and make a lot of money and,
Yeah.
have cars and this and that. And I'm just listening to this guy talking, super nice kid, but just doesn't, and just doesn't have any idea that success is hard fought,
Yep.
right? Nothing in this life is given to you. Money just doesn't show up and be like, okay, here's 100 grand to invest
Yeah.
and turn into $1 million.
For some people it does, but for the majority of human beings, that's not.
Yeah. No, yeah. But I think like for me, like what I'm trying to kind of express for younger people is one, things do change, right? Whether you're on a high, whether you're on a low, whatever, like life is always going to present different changes.
Yeah.
But it's life is tough. Life requires effort. Life, nothing's going to be easy. There's always going to be a struggle, and you have to like be conscientious in creating the moments that you desire, right? And it's like it's I think there's a lot within that concept alone because I think like if you have an ultimate like, oh, someday in the future I'm going to create this moment where I'm going to finally be happy, that's a fallacy as well
Sure.
because that those moments never come. So if you spend too much time in the future, I think that there's danger in that.
Oh, I've spent years in the future.
Yeah. And so like taking yourself out of the present. But I just think there's so much to explore within that concept. And I don't know exactly kind of how to like go as in depth as I tend to look at it. Like I don't know how to kind of express in words what I'm thinking, but like I just think like if people spend some time in thinking about that small passage, it will be super, super helpful because one, I think just realizing that bad times do pass, I think is really, really valuable. I think
Yeah.
that in itself is like, if you're 18 years old, you probably, hopefully, you haven't experienced too many bad times.
Yeah.
Although a lot of kids that I work with have, but like just life is gonna, life is unfortunately, life is gonna kick your ass.
Yeah.
Like that's just the reality, and you're gonna be down on the ground, and you're gonna have to pick yourself up. And there's gonna be moments where you don't want to. And I think like that's kind of what I mainly want to express in this. But at the same time, I think there's a lot of other aspects that can also be kind of gleaned from that. But
Yeah, it's also like I can also relate to like I was saying earlier, the high school Rowan didn't really have any big obstacles or kind of negative times. So I really was in no way prepared for it when it did get negative. And then it got so negative that I've felt very kind of hopeless, you know. And a big part of, I think, what you're trying to go for is like giving that power back to the individual, giving them that sense of hope that, like, hey, this too shall pass. One of my dad's classic sayings of any time that we're like in a bad time or whatever, he and my mom will go like, "This too shall pass." And I'm like, "I know, guys," but I didn't know.
well, the thing is, I don't think we do know.
But that's what I'm trying to say is like from the younger generation's perspective, and probably like the kids in high school, like if you don't experience and like you've said, some of the kids that you know have experienced like real bad stuff, and
Mhm.
maybe they do have a better understanding of like this shall pass, but I didn't because I didn't have any bad things. And so like having all this success, I mean, like truly, like it really felt like I just was having multiple multiple successes like throughout the years. Like I always got kind of the things that I wanted to the point where I was like, it kind of like makes sense where I kind of like built myself up, like have this, I don't know, not extra privilege, but just like things are aligning. I'm gonna get to the goal I want to get to.
Yeah.
It all felt like I'm gonna get there. It's
Yeah.
gonna happen. I manifest it, whatever. And then, you know, life did a whole 180 on me. And I kind of got like spat back out after a lot of things happened. And now I'm back to the mindset of not like, oh, like, of course it's gonna be. No, it's more of like, oh no, I'm gonna work to get the life that I want.
Yeah.
And like it's gonna take a long time. Like I want to pursue comedy. For instance, like we went to the comedy club, the guys that were like the best, they've been doing it for like 10 years. And
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, it's gonna take a long time to get to a place where I could actually like pursue this as a real career. And
Is
I'm okay with that. Is my family okay with it? And grandparents? No. But you know, I will get there.
grandmom not
When
okay
I
with it.
make it, then they'll all be super happy for me and I'll
Yeah.
be paying for all of their
Yeah.
finances and
Buying
whatnot.
houses and
Yeah, yeah.
whatever.
That's my goal. That's my
Yeah.
goal. So just like, the earning potential is limitless, but the current earning potential is very small. But
Yeah.
that's okay. And me having that mindset now has given me a freedom to be really present in my like current state. Like it's given me the ability to just be present through daily life and
Yeah.
not think, because I used to think so much about the future.
Yeah.
Like lost in it. Like I want to be doing this, I want to be doing that. Like in the future, I want to be able to go on like vacations and whatnot. And now when people are like, what are you doing in a month? I'm like, I don't know. I'm just trying to take it day by day, week by week.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. No, I'm gonna add on one just so that we can kind of get through this as well. But I think that this kind of I think it ties in nicely because
okay.
like in that discussion, that kind of just made me think like, oh,
Reminds you of
there's
okay.
another one that um but like this is another, and I think this is also really important because like we talked a little bit already about kids are so afraid of making mistakes
Yep.
and just like failure. Like
Rejection, failure.
kids are
Yeah.
paralyzed, right?
Yeah.
Like everybody's been a winner. Like I think the way that we like the kids, like we've created it, right?
Yeah.
The situation, and there's just this paralysis that comes like even with thinking about taking a risk,
Yeah.
like thinking about like, hey, I want to take this, I want to take this path down comedy, even though like everybody's saying, but this is what I
Yeah.
want to do, and I realize it could turn out really, really well,
Yeah.
or I could freaking fail miserably,
And we're
right?
not gonna think about that. We're gonna keep being positive.
No, we're gonna. I mean, it.
That
That's the thing.
before
It's
before
gonna
you
seep in.
before you get into that, that is a question I'd like to ask. So my mindset, right? So like I want to do comedy. Like that's a
Mm.
big important thing for me. What is your perspective on, because so like we've talked about manifesting before, which is like putting good thoughts into the world and like hoping that it comes.
Hmm.
And to some degree, my view of it, I don't know your view specifically, but it's kind of like, it's kind of bullshit. But it's also like, I think you should think positively about
It
things.
can't hurt.
It can't hurt,
It's
right?
mine.
So like my situation, like I want to do comedy.
Mhm.
That doesn't necessarily mean I want to be like a professional stand-up comedian. That would be really cool if I get good at it. Awesome.
Hold
But
on, hold on, hold on.
hmm,
As long as we're talking about manifesting and putting things into the world,
yeah.
like make that statement bold. Like you do.
Well, so this is what I would say.
Oh,
I don't know if it's specifically stand up. I want to do comedy
oh, okay,
in some capacity and an entertainment value.
okay, okay,
I'm pursuing stand up currently because I think that's the core bones of any comedic performance, whether
yeah,
it be improv,
okay,
acting, making movies, writing. So that's why I say that. But
okay, okay,
if I was successful enough to become a famous stand up comedian, like absolutely.
yeah,
I just don't know where I will go, you
okay,
know?
okay,
So I, on one hand, I'm being realistic in the sense that like this is a long journey,
okay.
and I could be very successful. But do you think that there is a point where you should be kind of realistic and think about what if it doesn't work?
Oh man, are you kidding me? You know me. Like I'm the exact wrong person to ask this question. I mean,
That's why I think you're the perfect person.
I think everybody that's listened will know my answer, but I just life is well, okay. Can I just read this one and that'll be part of my answer? So this is going to tie in. Thank you for this segue, actually. This ties in perfectly to what I wanted to say. But so this is just the one that I'm going to add on to this, and I think it's going to contribute greatly. But so, I mean, I've stated many, many times that I've made huge mistakes in the past. And I'm just going to read it. So, um, this is it. Pretty short, but pretty powerful, I think. Your biggest mistakes in this life often create the biggest opportunities, and the struggles that you face beneficial hugely.
Yeah.
So that's my answer. Without all of the like I call them mistakes because that's what other people
Yeah.
want to label them
Right.
as. But for me, I all of the all of the things that have impacted me in some negative way, like perception wise, have allowed me to get to this point. And I would not be here. I would not have the opportunities that I have. I would not be the person that I am. I would not like have the relationships. I would not be on this freaking podcast, like having this opportunity to talk with you and connect with people in a way that I would never do on my own without every single one of the mistakes that I've made. And so for me, I have been willing to make mistake after mistake after mistake, kind of like, kind of by not because I'm brave or kind of because I'm cowardly, kind of because I didn't want to do, I didn't want to take I didn't want to take the normal path. I didn't want
Yeah.
to, I couldn't get myself to just suck it up and do what I was supposed to do.
But in my to your defense, I think that's the braver.
Well, yeah, I mean that's an interesting conversation inside my own head all the time. Like,
Yeah.
am I ultra brave and like just like a freaking maverick and like doing things like that nobody else does, or am I just like, Hylan, you're not willing, like you're so far behind. I'm like 20 years behind my friends,
Yeah.
right? Like, they're like, yeah, like where they were at 30, I'm just now getting to
Yeah.
at 51, right? It's like, but at the same time, I feel like ultra successful right now. Like my life is freaking like top notch. And it's like, what the heck? So my answer is like, go for it. Like take the path less traveled.
Yeah.
Follow your dreams, follow your heart, and be brave in doing so. And I think it works out, right? Like if like I think part of the if you're willing to work hard and struggle and suffer, you create the moments that you desire. Like no path is easy,
Yeah.
right? You're never just going to walk down the path and well, maybe for some, right? But I
Yeah.
think those paths aren't very rewarding.
Yeah.
So, yeah, my long answer is like chase the heck out of your dreams.
Yeah.
Like don't compromise because I think compromise is just another way to kind of lose your soul and not like every time you compromise on your dreams, I think just a little part of
Yeah.
your soul, your heart
Chips away. Yeah.
disappears.
Yeah.
So
For sure.
yeah, in that regard, I think like chase things fiercely.
Yeah.
Be,
Excellent.
what did we say? Boldly fierce?
Uh, you were saying I want to be quietly
Oh, quietly bold. Yeah. Boldly fierce. I like that too though.
boldly. I mean, that's kind of like this. Fierce
Yeah.
and bold.
Yeah.
So
Quietly bold though. I think just like chase
my
like
goal is to be loudly bald.
I think you're
Didn't
accomplishing.
really. I thought it was a joke. Didn't really land, but that's
No.
okay.
Yeah. No, I was like I think you're accomplishing that. Like well done, buddy. Good job.
Thanks.
But
Thanks.
no, I think that's yeah, so that's my answer.
Okay. So I like that answer. Wasn't the exact answer to the question.
That's
Not
pretty
really.
common.
But so my question was around the lines, and I'll give you my answer, and then I'm sure it's actually the same. I kind of thought the same, but the question was, I am going to like kind of go for the dream, right? Stand up.
Yeah, you
I
are.
actively am.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, like
absolutely.
that is my path forward, right? The question was, do you, while pursuing the dream, cognizant, cognitive, think about the possibility of it not working? I say no. Because if you're pursuing a dream, I don't think you should have the mindset of like, what if this doesn't work out? Like, what if I end up, getting to 37 10 years later and I have no success? I'm not that good at stand up. I haven't made any connection. I haven't gotten onto like a good show or made any money from it. I don't think you should think that way. And so my question to you was, should you think about what if it doesn't work out while pursuing the dream?
Oh my God. That's like the best question ever. Yeah.
That was probably
No,
so loud. I'm gonna have to cut
yeah, I feel it. Yeah,
that.
it was loud in here. I can't
Yeah,
imagine what it
I
was
didn't.
like in the
I actually
microphone.
didn't like it.
No, that scared me actually. Um, yeah, like just a figurative mic drop. Um, buddy, I want to say one thing, right? I want to say, yeah, of course. Like you just don't think about that. Um, but I honestly don't know the answer. That's a really, really good question, and
I
that's
think that it creeps in for sure because like
I think it has to,
I
as in human nature.
I already have that thought now,
Yeah,
right? Like I'm just starting in the journey, which
yeah,
is great, and I am around people that have been doing it for a while, and they're not necessarily where I want to be in my future, right? And that's not a discredit to them. That doesn't mean that they're not achieving their dream or anything, but like there's a certain position I want to be in 10 years, wherever that may be, right?
right, right,
And, it also depends on like it's individually based on like kind of where you want to. But like, I have people that ask me like, "Hey, like, what if it doesn't work out?" Or like, maybe you should start saving and like getting a 401k and like all these things, which I have one. It's from all my old jobs. But that's besides the point. It's like I think you still got to go for it. Like, you got to go for it. And like yes, there's going to be the negatives. Yes, there's the possibility it doesn't work out, but I feel me personally, I will regret it if I don't go for it full force. Like if I don't really try. And if I'm going for something, like for instance, imagine you see a very pretty woman and you're like, I want to marry that woman. Like this
mm,
is the woman of my dreams.
hmm,
If you're walking up to her and the entire time you're like, "Oh my gosh, like what if she rejects me? What if she does?" You're gonna get rejected. Like
yeah, absolutely.
it's gonna go poorly. It prevents you from being present in the moment. Worrying about if you're not gonna be successful doesn't allow you to enjoy the process. It just constantly puts you in a state of fear. And I'm the type of person like I don't do well in fear. I don't perform well in fear. Like I have to feel comfortable. I don't think you can enter the flow state from fear. I think it has to be a level of comfortability and yeah, just a level of comfortability,
Comfortability and confidence
confidence,
in life.
and a sense of like belonging.
Yeah, yeah, belonging to like the world as a whole.
Yeah,
Like you deserve to be here.
yeah.
Buddy, you're rocking my world right now. I am trying to figure out
Been a while since I've done that.
my answer because I don't know how to answer this.
If you want
Um,
to take a moment, we can always cut back to
because
you answering.
no, like I like this. I want to show the kind of confusion and like the utter kind of chaos that's going on inside my head because I I feel like life has worked out for me. Right now, I'm in a moment of success,
Yeah,
of feeling very good. But at the same time, I have spent probably almost half a century feeling as a failure, and feeling like I'm not achieving and um, like pursuing things that I wanted to pursue, but not feeling good about it. Like
yeah.
not feeling super solid, feeling less than
Do
my
you feel
friends.
do you feel like that was like a crutch? You think that like that prevented you from actually seeing the success you wanted?
No, I feel like um I wasn't as I wasn't as successful. I wasn't as um accomplished as I could have been, right? Like I looked at myself and I did, I did inventory and I was like, Hylan, you have these gifts and you have these abilities and you have these opportunities and you haven't taken advantage of them. And like there's just the comparison of myself against others. I did not match up in any way. But at the same time, I feel as if those years and years of feeling that way have allowed me to get to this point and allow me to be much more appreciative and grateful for the moments that I'm experiencing now. So, and I don't know, I, th- oh man,
There's this
there's a lot going on.
there's this level, so if I can say a few things, and maybe this will spark some,
Oh, I'm interested.
not
I
interest,
don't,
I meant like
I don't
insight.
know how to,
Uh,
yeah.
there's this level of like belief that I think is hugely important. And so, for instance, pursuing comedy and this whole kind of avenue, thinking about what if it doesn't work out, I feel like will limit me. Like, don't get me wrong, I am a very realistic person. Like, I have always been very realistic. I think about things. I really try to like really not
Analyze.
be blind and
Yeah.
blindsided. Like, actually think about the pros and cons, the negatives, the things that could happen. So,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
those are all I got those locked in. I'm not blindly just like, I can do it. I'm gonna be the best. I am thinking about it, but at the same time, I do have a sense of like, Rowan, you have to believe in yourself. You really have to believe that like you're worthy, you can do it, like you have the skills to obtain whatever goal it is. Doesn't have to be something like a career. It could be, like believing in yourself that you deserve love or believing in yourself that you deserve to be happy. I think that's a huge part of kind of this process, and I think it's very important. And I think if the question I initially posed was like, do you start to think about like the negatives, like what if it doesn't work out? And I think that is kind of like headed in the wrong direction. Like, so my dad goes mountain biking a lot. You've been mountain biking, and he always says like, if you're like pick a line, you're riding on the trail. He's like, if you look at a tree, you're gonna hit the tree.
Yep.
And I feel like that's kind of the same mentality. Like if I look at the tree, which is failure, if I constantly like, what if it doesn't work out? And I'm looking at it, I'm gonna head right for it.
Well, you just did spark some insight because I think the difference in the last 2 years is I do believe, like, I do have confidence.
Nice.
I do feel worthy, right, of the success that I have and the success that I'm creating and things like that. And so I think maybe for the half century that I was limited, I was maybe thinking about too much. Like, hey, what if I can't do this?
Yeah.
What if I don't have the skills? Da da da. Right? Like the more negative aspects. And now those, it's like, yeah, that's part of the equation. Like, oh, what if this happens? Whatever. But there's like a plan. Like, okay, so I think about, okay, if this scenario happens, right? Like, if for example, like I don't have a contract for the next school year or
Yep.
whatever it is, right?
Yep.
There's a plan. Like, so there is recognition
Yep.
that these things can happen,
Recognition.
and then there's a plan, and then there's the confidence to be able to execute that plan.
Mm-hmm.
Just be like, okay, if this happens, then I do this, and I
Yeah.
go make money this way, da da da, whatever.
And I kind of have that too as well with like my career path.
So, well, that's it. I mean, like
Oh.
there is like those thoughts do come into my mind, but
Yeah.
they're not hindrances anymore. They're just like moments like, okay, this is all part of the equation,
And one
right?
of,
So X plus Y plus Z
Yeah.
equals, whatever.
one of the reasons I bring that up is because I think, and you probably would have a better understanding, but like, do you think that's kind of the mindset a lot of the students you're working with have? That they can't believe in themselves because they're thinking about the negatives and those are hindrance to further progress.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that is such an important point because if with confidence is derived from skills and abilities to overcome. If you have the skills and abilities and the belief that you can overcome, then hindrances just become kind of an annoyance.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay, fine. I got to deal with this situation. Like, let's get this over with and move on. Right. Let's continue on the path towards success. But if you see a freaking obstacle and you look at it and you're like, can't get around it,
Yeah.
can't get over it, can't get through it. Like I'm stuck. Like I'm just gonna sit here
Yeah.
in my misery and
Well,
kind
also,
of
if you obsess over it, I think it'll become more of a problem.
yeah, it just becomes bigger and bigger and
Yeah.
bigger, right? So yeah, I think like one of the main focuses in my working with any kids actually
Yeah.
is creating a mentality of you can do life,
Yeah.
right? Whatever life brings at you. Like look at all the things that you've overcome already, right? You've overcome like a lot of these kids that I deal with, they have overcome a ton
Yeah.
already, like more than I will ever have to deal with, right? And it's like look at the skills, look at the abilities, look at the situations that you have dealt with, and not only dealt with, like you have overcome, and you show up to school every day, and you're a pretty happy kid, and you have these abilities to like do amazing things, and just like begin to create this mentality that yeah, not only can I do life, I can do life well.
Mm.
And if you can create that sense within somebody, then you're on a path to like, okay, let's rock the heck out of this.
Yeah.
But if you have the mentality like life is just going to crush me, good luck,
Yeah.
right? Or if you're always worried, like what if life crushes me?
Yeah.
What if life brings me this? Then you're good. That's what you focus
Yeah.
on.
And one of the reasons I kind of came to that conclusion was before I did comedy or stand up, I was always worried, like, what, Rowan, what if you're not good? Like, if you're not good at it, you don't get to pursue the dream. And like, who are you? That was my big. And
Mm.
now I'm like,
Whoa.
Rowan, just keep going. You're gonna get better. Like it's a skill, and like just keep going. Just keep trucking along. Like you're doing the process of figuring it out. The worry of not being successful is kind of gone. Like I understand that. Like I'm gonna have bombs. Like I'm gonna bomb. I'm gonna
Yeah.
have dry spells of like not knowing what to write or not having any success. Or I might film something I think is brilliant, and then I show it to people, and they're like, "This is absolute trash." Like that might happen, but like in the pursuit of it, like I feel so much more free.
Mm.
So
Yeah, I mean, I think that goes back to the first point. Like, there are going to be moments of everything,
yeah,
right? There's going to be moments of success. There's going to be moments of devastation. There's going to be moments of, um, like just getting crushed, whatever it is, right? But as long as you continue to build upon those moments and use those moments in order to create the life that you want to lead, I think you're going to be a superstar, right? And yeah, oh man, I'm gonna think about that one a lot.
nice.
On the drive home today, I'm gonna be like, I have 7 hours to think that one through. So
Well, we've brought it full circle, baby. And with that, you can check us out anywhere you could find podcasts, YouTube, Spotify. If you ever want to reach out to us, NopeOpePod@gmail.com. Also, comment down below. Let us know what you thought about this episode. Feel free to share it with a friend or a family member, whatever, or a coworker. With that being said, we appreciate you watching and listening, and we'll see you in the next one.